Mr. Chairman. I wanted to follow up on the great response from Ambassador Ford on my question about what a peace process would look like. And you are much closer to this and have much greater experience and expertise on why the current UN Security Council process may not be a serious one. And if I heard you correctly, you said our strategy should be to arrive at a point of greater leverage against Assad, Iran, and Russia by better supporting and supplying those forces in opposition, excluding ISIL. And that will allow us then ultimately to enter negotiations on our terms, including potentially Assad stepping down. What do we expect reasonably Russia to do? If we escalate, does Russia say, all right, you guys win, or do they escalate? And then what does the next round of escalation look like? In other words, could you set our expectations on length of time, costs, and potential reactions to the other players in Syria?
Congressman, first let me answer your question about Bashar al-Assad and should the United States accept him. As I said, I don't think it's up to us to say he should stay or he should not. A man has no legitimacy, but that's a different question from whether or not he should stay. I think we should judge whether or not Bashar al-Assad stays on this one criteria. If he stays, will the new national government under him be better able to mobilize Syrians to fight extremists or not? Will most of the armed opposition fighters who are not extremists, will they then turn around and fight the extremists under a Bashar al-Assad-led government or not? That to me is the criteria. So with respect to your question about Russian and Iranian reactions, I think for a time they will also escalate. Already I think the Turks and the Saudis are escalating in response to what the Russians and the Iranians have done. I can imagine that this will go up several levels more. Doesn't mean you can't have the peace talks start in the meantime. I think obviously we would want that. I just don't think we're going to get very far in terms of mutual concessions and compromises until the Syrian government and its allies feel more pain. I'm sorry to say that, but it is what it is.
My understanding of the peace process as adopted by the Security Council is that within 18 months after the talks begin, elections are to be held that include the Syrian diaspora. Now, that would, I think, arguably result in the election of someone other than Bashar al-Assad. And, however complicated it is to perform those elections, if you could in some way allow Syrians in Syria and outside of Syria to rally behind some person, then that might solve the concern that you raised there. Now, getting there, that's quite a challenge. I'd like to see us, to the degree we can, help to facilitate that process to get to where you argued we should be, which is Syrians deciding this for themselves. I don't know if either of the other panelists would like to comment on this.
No, I agree, and I think Russia's power to really escalate is somewhat limited, and you see strains right now in Iran and Hezbollah. But I think the two of them could actually probably do more, and they probably would before they give up on this regime that's been so great to them for 3 decades.
Mr. Morell, any thoughts on Russia's response to additional escalation on our part?
I agree with what both Robert and Mike have said. I'm much more concerned about Iranian escalation than I am about Russian escalation. I think the key to getting the Russians on board with the strategy that you eloquently outlined here is to get the Russians to twist the arm of the Iranians. I think that's how the process has to go. Bring enough pain to the Russians where they see the solution that we all see, and then get them to twist the Iranians' arm.
Okay. Thank you for your responses and for being here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.